Hey, it's Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and today we are talking about Rurik Stone and Blade, the expansion to Rurik Dawn of Kiev. And I'm doing something new on these Should You Back It videos where I'm talking about I'm giving a conclusion up front, and then from there we can go into the rest of the details into how I arrived at that conclusion. And so my conclusion, my Should You Back It for Rurik today is pretty simple. And if you are someone who is looking for the expansion, if you have the base game and you are interested, then Rurik Stone and Blade is an easy back. It is a good, safe back. It is an expansion that is available cheaper than it will be available later, and you should go ahead and get that now. If you are someone new to the series and you're looking at both the expansion and the base game, then this is still giving you a good offering, a good price, and one that you will likely be able to get most, if not all, of your money back should it not be a game for you and should you need to sell it on the secondary market or trade it or whatnot. So, my opinion out of the way, and saving everyone else a whole lot of time. If you're done with the video, great. I will see you tomorrow or whenever. Subscribe down below. For those who want to hear more, for those who want to talk about Rurik, let's go into it. So, Rurik Dawn of Kiev, or more specifically, Rurik Stone and Blade, is an expansion to Rurik. Now, full disclaimers of everything aside, let's get into a bunch of disclaimers. One, I already did a review for this game. I did a review which is somewhere down here. I'll find it whenever. Either way, here we go. Usually I reference, Quackalope or Rado or whoever, but today the video you want to watch is the Rurik and Stone and Blade review put up by myself, because I go into it for a good 25 minutes or so. I talk about the pros and cons, what I liked, what I don't like, why it might not be a game for you, as well as the expansion and what it adds and whatnot. The short version, in case you want to just watch this video, is I love Rurik. I think Rurik is an incredible game. I have been obsessed with Rurik since I first got it, and it was not a game on my radar. I did not back the original Kickstarter. Rather, I traded for the game as a kind of throwaway. Someone offered me a trade. It looked interesting. I traded for a Kickstarter copy. I got it. I let it sit on my shelf for a while. Finally pulled it out one day, and it went from being barely on my radar at all to a straight up 10. This is a game that was my number 6 game of 2019, and in 2020 it's still going to be the top 20. We will see exactly where, because I haven't done my top 20 yet, but it is definitely a game that I love. I'm a huge fan of it, and as soon as I heard that they were having an expansion, I reached out to the creator, I reached out to Peacekeeper Games and said, hey, I'd love to cover it, because, I can't imagine what the expansion would do to be negative, and I'm already a huge fan walking in the door. As a note, disclaimer-wise, I am getting a free copy of the expansion, but that was offered well after, meaning I was offered after I decided to do everything, so this is not in any way being traded for that, not in the slightest. I said, hey, I'm doing a review, and I'm doing a Should You Back It, and he was like, oh yeah, by the way, you'll also get an expansion copy. Great, I like free games, and more importantly, I like Rurik Stone and Blade and Rurik Dawn of Kiev. As far as the campaign, as far as this whatnot, as far as what's going on here, we have Rurik Stone and Blade, which is a amazing game. It is a game that if you like Innis, if you like Lancaster, if you like any kind of dudes in the map, Kemet, Cyclades, Blood Rage, I would focus more on the Innis and Lancaster. There's a degree of cleverness to this game, but if you like these kinds of games, this game, it delivers, and what it specifically delivers on is this action programming phase of the game where you're trying to lock in your actions when you will then carry them out. And I go into more into this into my review, so you can watch that. But the short version is the game allows you to feel clever. The game allows you to sit there and plan out your turn with precision, perfectly, to achieve the result you want. But while it allows you to pretend that you will plan it out perfectly, in reality, the other players are messing with you. They are going to mess with your plans, mess with your order, and stop you from being able to do what you want. The game is incredibly satisfying in what it does. I absolutely adore this game, but again, I'm drifting. You can go watch my review for that. As far as Rurik Stone and Blade adds a few things. It adds a few core mechanisms to the base game, as well as 3 modules. Those core mechanisms include new leaders, new cards, 2 new buildings which are a lot of fun to play with, the stable and the tavern, which the stable gives you additional movement points. You build it and you just get straight movement, and the tavern allows you to play scheme cards as well as get some money back. And then it adds 3 modules. The modules are a module involving rebel allegiances or whatnot. It gives more of an AI feel to the rebels, and then you can eventually quash them for victory points. It adds a more of a combat aspect and capturing, and then it adds a bunch of new buildings which are core for me. To me, the new buildings are the highlight module for myself and my group, but we're still playing it out. We're still feeling out these strategies and trying new things, and it is an expansion that I really genuinely love. As far as the Should You Back It, let's talk about the pledge levels first. Pledge levels, and this is going to be a fairly short video, primarily because I spent 25 minutes talking about the game already, and you can watch that for more context for yourself. Pledge levels over here are pretty simple. we have a $39 pledge level, which gives you the expansion, Stone and Blade, gives you all the stretch goals, and plain and simple, $39 plus $2 shipping. Okay, and we're going to talk about the shipping soon. $114 for the expansion and the base game. So if you want the base game and the expansion, $114, again, plain and simple, with $5 shipping. The Grand Prince gives you basically everything. It gives you the metal coins, the playmat, it gives you metal coins, playmat, 12 plastic honey cubes, the base game and the expansion for $149. Those extras could be bought directly from Peacekeeper Games, so in terms of if you want to price compare there. And then finally, there is a pledge level here, which I'm going to talk about even though it's gone, which is the $159 pledge level. It's basically an extra $10. I think it's an extra 10. Yeah, it's an extra $10, but you get limited copies of the base game now. So if you wanted limited Kickstarter copies now of the base game, you can get your hands on those. There's currently 100, well, there were 100 available. They have all been purchased already. At the same time, keep in mind this is a pledge level where at any point someone can cancel, so you might be one of the lucky ones. In fact, when I started filming this video, there was one left and then it got snatched up, and it wasn't available earlier. But again, whenever you have a pledge level like this, if you keep an eye on it, you might get an opportunity to try it out. So what should we do here? So as far as these pledge levels, let's start with the basic one. Let's start with the easiest one, which is the $39 one. This is not a Kickstarter exclusive game or campaign, but rather it's Kickstarter limited. So let's focus on these pledge levels over here. So everything's Kickstarter limited. What that means is Rurik is not being sold to retailers. Unless you are a retailer with a pledge level trying to get it from the Kickstarter itself, this is not being sold to traditional distribution. Rather, it is being sold in the Kickstarter and then directly from Peacekeeper Games website, so you can buy it directly from them. And at that point, it'll be $45 directly. So you're getting it cheaper. Even if you forget anything else, the $39 plus $2 shipping is already cheaper than getting it later. And of course, you don't have to wait. If you're on the fence and don't want to buy it now, sure, get it from the website later. But A, we have to worry about stock quantities. You'll have to make sure it's in stock. B, you'll be paying a little bit more. And C, get the expansion now because it's awesome. So that's pretty simple for that. In terms of the base pledge, what you're really price comparing here is you're comparing it to both their websites directly as well as you're comparing it to Amazon. And so in either case, really, because you're getting the Kickstarter copy here, you're still getting it for cheaper. So again, it's a pretty simple equation here because of the fact that there's not really a ton of distribution going on here. Primarily, they are dealing with Kickstarter and then direct. So there are still copies available in retail. There's still copies available on Amazon. If you don't care about any of the extras at all, then this might be worth it for you. But otherwise, you should go ahead and get this Kickstarter copy right here. In terms of the Kickstarter, both the expansion and the base game. And then finally, the Grand Prince gives you everything. And again, all this stuff is available on their website. So if you want, over here, all awards listed will not be available through distribution and are only available through Peacekeeper Games. So, and yeah, copies of Rurik Dawn of Kiev sold elsewhere are the retail edition and do not include the plastic player trays and intrigue cards, which together cost $15 plus $5 shipping. So really, this is a very easy campaign to look at because what's being offered here, what's available here, you have to really compare it to the website if you want a comparable product. You could buy this on Amazon. If you're on the fence, you could buy this on Amazon for $55 or so, somewhere in that range. Might be a little more. It does vary depending on the day. But at the same time, that's not going to give you the extras. You don't need those extras, by the way. Those plastic player trays, those intrigue cards. The intrigue cards, I think you would miss. They're great. They add a little something to the game. The plastic player trays are nice. They're helpful. Speaking for myself, as much as I love Rurik and the campaign, I probably will end up consolidating the expansion inside the base game, which means somewhere I'm going to have to make a compromise on as to what I want to keep or not keep. So for myself, the plastic trays might be going anyway. So if you don't really care about that and you want a copy of Rurik now, then yeah, it might be worth it. If you want those extras, then either try to get this $100 pledge level over here, or just, buy the pledge level and wait it out, because it is a great game. I recommend getting your hands in it one way or another, sooner or later. It is a game that, by the way, I will note, if you look at the testimonials here, and some of these people I know directly, but there are some solid testimonials on this page. There are some solid people who love this game. Look at this guy, Alex Radcliffe of BoardGameCo. What do I think of the expansion? Well, ultimately, I think it's incredible. I think the expansion adds what I needed Rurik to be because of the amount of variability it adds to the game. And honestly, this is one of those bad testimonials which really isn't saying anything. How do we really know if this guy likes the game or not? How do we know if it really... I wish testimonials were more clear about how much they like the game. Sometimes testimonials just pick and choose their words to try to make it sound good. This Alex guy probably doesn't really even like the game. But other testimonials were pretty good. I love Rurik, and I'll be backing this Kickstarter campaign as fast as I can. It blends with the core game seamlessly. Now's a good time, by the way, to actually point out, because not everyone watching this video watches my channel on a regular basis. I'm poking fun at this testimonial because it's from me. I am Alex from BoardGameCo, and on a regular basis on Kickstarter campaigns, I tend to tear apart testimonials that are cutesy but not direct. Testimonials that say things like, it was so innovative, or I love the way it looked on the table. I tend to tear those apart. So I was poking fun at myself, but I realized, in case you didn't realize that, yeah, that's a bit of a backstory to that little private joke there. Anyways, the testimonials on this campaign generally are very, very positive. Again, look at this testimonial. I love Rurik. I'll be back at this Kickstarter campaign as fast as I can. What else we have? I think the action and programming system should win some kind of award, as it's probably my favorite new to me mechanic from this year. Again, it's a good testimonial. Look at these. This is another great game from designer Stan Kordensky. It's a good testimonial. It's not amazing. It's good. Great game. The components in this game are ridiculously nice. That's the kind of testimonial I make fun of, by the way. Not to say it's not true, but meaning it doesn't make it a good game. But either way, my point is, Rurik is an incredible game. I love Rurik. I love the expansion. I've played the expansion. I'm a big fan of it. It adds so much to a game that was slowly drifting down in my ratings. And down, to be clear, means going from like my 6th game of all time to maybe my 11th or 12th. But the variability that the expansion adds kicks it up a notch. Obviously, I can't comment on the longevity of the expansion and what it does for me long term, but short term, it definitely has knocked it back up to where, to a 6 or possibly higher, as I am thoroughly enjoying this expansion. Last thing I want to talk about over here is, first of all, there are websites you can play test Rurik online. You can play it on Board Game Play, Tabletop Simulator, or Tabletopia. I haven't played them on any of them, so I can't comment on how well the implementations are. I will just say Rurik's a great game. Get the game, whatever. We have a bunch of stretch goals going on over here for 50,000, all at 50,000. Oh, the stretch goals are all right off the bat. Never mind there. There is a solo mode. It's worth mentioning. Lastly, I want to talk about those shipping prices because I said they're ridiculous. Look at this. $2 shipping. I want to point this out, okay? This is the size of the box over here. They're charging $2 to ship this to the US. $2. This is going to cost you a whole lot more than $2 to ship. And for $5, we get this. This over here is $5 to ship. If you think it's going to cost you $5 to ship that, it's not. In an age where we have consistently Kickstarters are charging more and more money to ship their games. In an age where Kickstarters are, easily in the range of $20, $30, something $40 to ship a game, even to the US. This is refreshing. I am such a huge fan of this $2 shipping cost, this $5 shipping cost, and that Grand Prince, which effectively is two-wave shipping. Oh, actually, no, Grand Prince is not, sorry, my bad. That's the fast Grand Prince. The Grand Prince, which is the higher pledge level, which adds in the metal coins and the neoprene mat, that's a whole other thing. Have you seen neoprene mats? It's a huge tube that you have to deal with. The shipping prices on this campaign are amazing, absolutely refreshing, and I love it. I will say in general, when I give Kickstarters a hard time about the value proposition, one of the things I tend to focus on is the shipping, because if you're concerned about that aspect of having to protect the MSRP for when you sell it later, you can still give free shipping or discounted shipping to make up for it. So there are ways to simultaneously offer a better deal to your backers while still protecting MSRP. Obviously, I can't account for the overhead of your company, what you need to do to keep it running. Overall, what I will say is, I am a big fan of Rurik. I'm a big fan of this campaign. I'm a big fan of the shipping. To tune down the enthusiasm, I will point out a few things, which is, first of all, to tune down the enthusiasm, one is basically your costing. It's costing you $39 plus $2 or $41 to get it now versus $45 to get it directly from their website later. You do have to factor in availability, but it's basically saving $4 and you're giving it up now, and maybe it'll change your mind. Maybe that FOMO will go away. So it's not a huge savings. That being said, it is a savings and you get it earlier, so I'm still cool with it. I still like it. But again, just to tune down the enthusiasm a bit. In terms of the higher pledge levels, same idea. Basically across the board, as enthusiastic as I am about this game, as enthusiastic as I am about the campaign, and as much as I think it's a good deal, the water that I would throw on all of that is on basically every pledge level. If you compare it to your options of getting the game now or Amazon or from the website, you're saving small amounts of money. It's not a huge savings. But even with shipping, it is a savings and it's a good game and you should get it now. That's basically it. I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo. As I mentioned already, I do have a review that is live on my channel right now, or you can just click on the link, over here, somewhere. There we go. Rurik Dawn of Kiev review. So if you want the review over there, there are a bunch of other channels. I know Board Game Closet did something. We have Rurik Stone and Blade. I don't know the name of this. I apologize. There we go. The Dice Odyssey. There we go. Quackalope did a gameplay. Tantrum House. There's a bunch of stuff out there. But really, I recommend that BoardGameCo guy. He seems kind of solid. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and I hope you have a good one.